Welcome to Bulls, Beers, and Brawls. You got Big B here with ya. Hope you're doing well out there, fight fans. Hey, we had BKFC action return to California. Yeah, BKFC Pechanga, tomato. I believe it's Pechanga, so I'll go with that. We had the return of the small ring there, Friday, July 12th. And it was headlined by a lightweight scrap between Robbie Peralta and Ruben Warr. And let me tell you, it was a pretty damn good card. Glad the action has returned. Now this was a little confusing because it was listed as BKFC Pechanga Fight Night, but then I saw other things advertising that it was a Prospect Series card. So and then they were talking about Temecula, which I don't know my California geography, so anyway, I'm just gonna go with BKFC Pechanga, just for sake of ease here. We had 10 fights on the card, and we probably had what, seven or eight finishes. So as usual, finish heavy. And I'm going to start with the main event, work my way down the card. So let's get at her because we got some action. As mentioned, main event, we had Robbie Peralta. He was going in to this one 3-1, taking on the 1-1 Ruben Warr. And there's only one word for this. Wow. Absolutely amazing here because Ruben Warr puts Robbie Peralta out cold immediately. And I'm talking immediately. Like, this was right off the hop, basically. A left followed by a right sent Peralta into dreamland. They called it 6-second knockout officially, but realistically it probably could have been 4 or less. Either way, it was scary stuff from Ruben Warr. He's been saying he's dialed in, he's on a mission. He wants to better his life for him and his family. So a lot of times there's no more dangerous motivation for a man than his family. So good on Ruben Warr making a statement. There's no doubt he's going to get some bonuses. I mean, the event just ended, so I obviously haven't watched any of the post-fight conference or anything like that. But how could he not get multiple bonuses for that? I mean, you take out Peralta in 6 seconds, 2 shots, a left and a right, and I mean, done. Crazy ass shit in the main event in Pechanga, and I can't wait to see now what's next for Ruben Warr. I mean, he moves to 2-1. He's still relatively young in his career here. I don't know his age, but he doesn't look old at all. So the sky's the limit for this kid if he keeps this motivation going. The co-main at BKFC Pechanga featured a light heavyweight scrap between Fernando Gonzalez, who was going in 0-1. He was taking on the debuting Rodney Thomas. And let me tell you here, clinch was the name of the game for Gonzalez. I mean, he tore Thomas's face up with clinch work and uppercuts. It was a really, really good game plan, well implemented by Gonzalez. And on the other side, Thomas just didn't seem to be able to keep Gonzalez at bay and kind of avoid those clinches. So, I mean, in the end, Fernando Gonzalez takes the unanimous decision. It wasn't a super exciting fight, but hey, it is what it is. The feature bout in California, we saw some bantamweights going at it as the 0-1 Victor Rosas was taking on the debuting Luis Inaguz. I know I'm saying that wrong. I apologize. I'm just terrible with names. Anyway, it was a great technical scrap here. I thought both showed impressive defense mixed with movements. Victor Rosas ends up getting the split decision. Again, it wasn't anything super exciting. It didn't, from what I recall, it was never in jeopardy of ending or anything like that. But very technical, and I firmly believe that both guys have a future in the sport should they choose so. We also saw a middleweight scrap between Riley Pellegrino, who was making his debut. He was taking on the veteran of 6 bare knuckle fights in BKFC, Jordan Christensen, who was 2-4 going in. And a weird ending to this one. It was a weird ending to what was shaping up to be a really good scrap, I thought. Pellegrino claimed he couldn't see, said a headbutt, but there was no evidence of a headbutt. There was evidence of him getting punched. So in the end, Christensen was awarded the TKO victory. I believe it was just after the second round, in between rounds, third round, I believe, actually. I believe the third round had started early in the third, so I don't know. I mean, if you can't see, you can't see, but it's just not very often that we see a fighter, basically scream out, "I can't see," and I mean, as a fighter, the fight's gonna be stopped. So, I don't know. Pellegrino, it was just weird. Maybe he panicked. It's hard to say. It's easy for me to criticize sitting on my couch watching on my phone, but I don't know. I just found it a really weird ending. Pechanga played host to another middleweight scrap as Luis Senor, who was 0-1 heading into this one. He was taking on the 1-1 Brett Fields. And Villasenor absolutely ran through Fields here. 3 knockdowns within the first minute and 11 seconds. After the third knockdown, the ref had seen enough. Luis Villasenor gets a big win here, actually. I mean, Brett Fields is, even though he's just 1-1, for some reason he strikes me as a name, right? If you can get a win off of him. So now Luis moves to 1-1. What's left for him? I don't know. I don't know his contract. I don't know how many more fights he's looking to do. But with a performance like that, I mean, a minute 11, you got to think he's coming back. We also had a flyweight scrap between the 0-0 Alexander Gutierrez. He was taking on the 0-0 as well, Zay Garcia. I thought this was a good fight here, folks. Both tough as hell. I mean, both put on an absolute display on the toughness scale here. There was definitely some talent displayed. Obviously, being debuting fighters, a little bit more work is needed, but you can tell that there is talent there, and once again in both fighters. In the end here in this one though, Gutierrez takes the unanimous decision over Zay Garcia, moves to 1-0. We also saw another lightweight scrap here at BKFC Pechanga. Side note here, there were no female fights. I don't know, maybe if they had one booked and it fell through. It's kind of weird for them. Usually they have their token one female fight on the card, but not tonight here in California. But back to the results and kind of a reaction here. Lightweight scrap, we had the debuting Squire Redfern. He was taking on the 0-1 Richard Brooks. And you know what? I thought Redfern showed some potential here. He gets the 5th round TKO. There was nothing amazing that stuck out to me in this scrap, but as I say, I do think Redfern did show some potential here. that was the main card at BKFC Pechanga. We also had 3 prelims, or previews as they like to call them. We had a featherweight bout. The 1-1 Daniel Pedit was taking on the 0-3 Vanvo. And you know what, folks? Vanvo gets his first win inside BKFC, and he does it with style. First round knockout, great footwork. I thought he absolutely looked awesome out there, and I was happy to see him get that W. The second fight of the night featured a heavyweight scrap between the debuting Caleb Avila. He was taking on the 0-1 Joe White. In a third round TKO win here for Joe White. He looked absolutely gassed. I thought he was done. Like, I honestly thought he was done. But he got it done. There's definite talent there for Joe White. But once again, he needs a little bit of work. But I think there is time should he choose a career in this. I mean, 1-1, getting that W has to feel good. So, especially when you do it in style, as Joseph White did at BKFC Pechanga. And opening up the entire event, we had a bantamweight bout between the debuting Mike Hansen. He was taking on the 0-1 Anthony Yost. And I thought this was a fantastic opener. Hansen picked himself up off the canvas, lands a big right, gets the first round TKO. Yost, I thought he looked really good. That was until he got caught. So unfortunate for him there, but I have no doubt that both men will be back, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's in store for the future. Not only for the winner here, Mike Hansen, but also for Anthony Yost. There you have it, folks. That's my reaction and results for BKFC Pechanga. Like I said, I thought it was a fantastic event. I guess the big announcement of the evening was that King Mo is going to fight bare knuckle inside the BKFC squared circle. He's taking on Mundell. I can't believe that's going to happen. It's scheduled for September 13th, I believe. So that's going to be huge. That's going to bring some even more eyeballs to the BKFC, because there's going to be, I think there's going to be a pretty decent crowd that wants to see that scrap. So it's going to be interesting. Some good stuff in store through August and September now. BKFC going hard, slower July, but bang in August, and September is looking absolute fire already. So anyway, I'm done rambling. Thanks for joining me here today on Bowls, Beers, and Brawls. Till next time, everybody, take care and peace.